You know where you should ever put it now? So, Joseph got that. Social media. Social media will mess you up, won't it? On your phone. And when you go to apply for a job, what's the first thing they do? They want to know, do you have an account? Is that a social media account? Is that the first thing they want to know?
They actually have it on your application.
And do what they do? Go to that at first, right away?
They go ahead and research and see if you have any background, because that's what they did for me.
Really?
Yes, sir.
And you got away with it, huh?
I don't want to use social media.
So they went to check your social media?
Yes, sir. I don't have social media, but they can still search it through your name.
Anybody else know that to be true?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I guess you better be careful with what you put on social media, because when you go to, is that right, Miss Johnson?
Yes, sir. I do it. When I was interviewing people, I would go and look them up on social media, and if they seem to be ghetto or hood, I would tell them I don't want to hire them.
Oh, and they got that stuff on social media.
Yes, sir.
And you can't tell them, can you? Yeah, I look at people on this, I call it not Bluetooth, something else.
YouTube?
It's just social media. No, on what you call, you got one of them accounts, and you got your picture out there.
Instagram.
And you say, look what we're doing now, and we're doing now. I wouldn't have bit more put my business out there on the street like that. And these people put their pictures out there. I wouldn't do that. But I'm from the old school. But now I guess you tell all, don't you? You know what the Bible said about that? The Bible said a fool, every time he opens his mouth, he tell everything you know. Did you know that, Sister Engel? You didn't. Did you know that, Linda? The Bible said a fool, every time he opens his mouth, he tell everything he knows.
All that's in his heart.
Did y'all know that? The Bible said that?
Yes, sir.
Miss Watson, did you know that?
Yes, sir.
It says a fool, does it? Just go to running your mouth. You're a fool. You better keep some things to yourself. You think you got a friend? Your friend already got you on social media, done told everything about you. Then you're going to, when you see your friend, you want to straighten him out. You shouldn't have told him. Is that right, Linda? Y'all better get off of that. Say, but you got to do something. But go fishing. Not good. Yes.
And you know it's something serious, because even the creator of Facebook doesn't even allow his own children to get on.
He's saying over here, even the creator. Who is the creator? Who developed it? Anybody know his name? And he don't allow his own children
He doesn't allow his own children.
on social media.
The creator of Twitter doesn't allow their children to get on there. The one that created Twitter doesn't allow his children to get on there.
Oh my goodness. Well, they're finding ways now, and all these other different kinds of tubes and whatever you call them, and they're finding ways to block stuff because they call it parental control, because they tell you your children should not be watching this. Well, but all that stuff is out there now, and your children could be in their room with their iPad and their phone looking at all that pornography, and you done going to bed sitting there sleeping.
No, sir. I'm going to shut it down.
Not good. Don't give him no iPad. Somebody's got to have one. Don't give him no phone. Is he ready for one? Well, yes. And then, so you say he needs one because he needs to know when school is out, So you got to figure out a way that let him have a phone without not let him Watch everything? I don't know, because I don't hardly find nothing on my own phone, so I don't know what to tell you. Yes.
So for Nevaeh, we have, it's called Family Link, and you can give them certain hours of usage time, and I can block social media.
Yeah. It's coming down to that, isn't it? Yes, it is. All right. I'm going to go back over here now and move on. Jude, that's where we were. To them that are sanctified by servant of Jesus Christ and brother of James. Oh, yeah. Jude, brother number one, the servant of Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, that's where I was. Now, we notice that Jude doesn't say what, Brother Gary?
The brother of Jesus.
That's right. He doesn't say Jude, the brother of Jesus Christ, does he? No. And he does that for a reason. But I do know. Are you ready, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
I do know that when I was over last Sunday, when I was over in the 7th chapter of John, you ever read the 7th chapter of John? Joseph, what do you think I'm going to say? See if you have my mind.
That it reads that neither did his brethren believe on him.
I do know that John, who was not one of the brothers, 7 and 5, it says, neither did his brethren believe in him. Now that's when Jesus was going through his 3-year ministry. But when we get over here later on, when he's writing this book, now he is a believer. So what you need to do is find out at what point in time,
I believe it was the.
finish your missing blanks, did he become a believer?
Yes, sir.
And I always tell you, it's after the resurrection. Or say, Jude, the servant of Jesus Christ. He's not saying Jude, the brother of Jesus Christ, my oldest brother. He wants you to know, and brother of James. He does say brother of James. All right? Say brother of James.
Brother of James.
And what are we going to do now, Joseph?
Now we're going to see where, we're going to go
We've already found out
to James.
that Jude wrote one book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jude wrote Jude. And since the name James comes up, now we need to see if James wrote anything. This is what you call thorough research. So take your time. Let's go over here. And Brother Robinson, let's see if the Lord's other brother wrote anything. Define James.
Yes, sir.
James comes after Hebrews. All right, now, Stephen,
Yes, sir.
what is the first thing I'm going to do?
We're going to read the introduction and see what he says about.
You're getting warm.
Yes, we're going to read.
We're going to read and see if James says the same thing about Jesus as Jude said. Now go back to Jude now. You see, take your time. And Jude said, the servant of Jesus Christ. And the brother of James. Now let's see how James opens up. Says all this necessary. If you're an intellectual, this is how you do it.
Yes, sir.
So you don't want to be a, this is how you do it.
Yes, sir.
James. Look over at Jude, and what does it do? Jude.
Yes, sir.
James. Stephen. Joseph. Jude. James. Same way, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
A servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. And Jude said, the
Servant of Jesus Christ.
are the servant of Jesus Christ. James said, servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. Now I got to stop there. I got to stop there because I got a red flag there. There's a little doctrine here now. You see my doctrinal point there?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Joseph? Take your time.
He's making a difference of addressing who God, that he's a servant of God, and also he's saying that he's a
James is telling us that he doesn't believe that Jesus and the Father is the same person. That's what James is telling us. That's what you want to say?
Yes, sir.
He's telling us he doesn't believe. I've been telling you this for weeks and weeks and weeks, that Jesus and the Father is the same person. Now, James and Jude have what in common? One main thing in common, and what is that? They have the same mother. And no, they have two things in common. They have the same father. Have you thought about that? James and Jude have the same father and the same mother. But they're different from Jesus. All right. The servant of God and of the Lord Jesus. He claims to be a servant of two people.
Yes, sir.
Who are they, BJ? Who are they? You got your Bible down over there? There are God and Jesus Christ. James don't claim that they're the same person. Now I'm dwelling on this because this is what your doctrine is, because there's a lot of it out there. To the 12 tribes, when you say that to the 12 tribes, you should know immediately that this man is Jewish. Only Jews will talk about 12 tribes, which are scattered abroad. Scattered abroad from this writing, it means they're all over the Roman Empire. And Jews are like, they're like Africans. When I say Africans, East and West Africans. East, West, and South African, not North African. North Africans are Mediterranean people. And you take like in the city of Columbus, you can run into especially up on Morse Road, you can, all the Africans that live in that area, but they're not all from the same country. Majority of them come from, a lot of Africans in Atlanta, they come from Nigeria. And in Columbus, where most of them come from. You're a businessman. Somalia, that's East Africa now. Somalia, lots of them here, right over there. A lot of Somalians. You can't tell a Somalian man so much, but you can tell a Somalian woman because she's still got all that on them. Another way you can tell about them, they can't drive. Poor drivers. Somalians, lots of Ghanaians here, lots of Nigerians here, lots of Africans. All right. I was listening to something on TV last night. It was either in the car coming home, and this missionary, he was in one of the East African countries, and he says that many different tribes in a given country, and each tribe is a different dialect. One tribe don't speak the same language as the next tribe speaks. So what they do, this is why you can run into, he knows from doing business, you can run into almost anybody who comes from East, West, and South Africa, and they're going to have one thing in common. You know what that is? They all speak English. You almost never run into, unless he is from a tribe that's in a remote area almost all Africans speak English. You know why? Because they have so many different tribes, and so many every tribe have their own dialect, and the British did it. Because the British are the greatest colonizers of Africa. You know what that means, Joseph? You know, it means that of all the countries that were going around colonizing people, you know, when they were, the British did the most. And as we learned in school, and the reason why they were number one in doing it, because at that time, they had the most ships. Because, you know, that's why they come up with the slogan, Gary, the sun never sets on the British flag, you know, because Britain had so many colonies all over the world then, right? And they were number one in Africa. They had the most colonies in Africa. So when they came and started colonizing these people, the first thing they said, they can't understand each other. This tribe over here, this tribe up in Easton, he's got one dialect. He don't understand the tribe over here, down here by the pool of Bethesda. So the British come up, well, we're going to make English the official language for the whole country. And all of y'all going to communicate with us. You must do it in English. All official paperwork, documents must be done in English. And that's how we got started. And to this day, every African from everywhere, he's going to speak English. He may not understand his neighbor, but he'll understand you. Pretty smart, huh? So they come over here, they had all the ships, you know. So then they start bringing slaves to the Caribbean island. We just come from there, you know. And all the islands that the British colonized, they're all independent now, but they all speak English. Jamaica, English. We was in Barbados the other day, English. And the colonies that the French colonized, they still speak French. And then the rest of them still speaking Spanish.
Yes, sir.
And that's how it was. But if you learned that, should have learned that in school. Did you remember that? Well, we had it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
World history.
You know, it's a funny thing now. Barbados, in the Caribbean islands, Barbados was the last country to make up their mind they want their independence, because they was loyal to the Queen until, I don't think they did it on purpose, but look at him. But I think it was time when Harry married Meghan, and yes, and the Queen didn't, she could have done it better, was when Barbados made up their mind. It had been in the pot stewing that they wanted their independence, but they wouldn't do it because they wanted to be loyal to the Queen. And I think it was waiting till she died. She didn't die soon enough. They just went on to do it. Natural laws. And when she died, and when they did it, they just announced it one day and then went on with something else because they didn't want to talk about it. It's just like nobody's really come out and really said why Trump won the election. But if you turn, and you should do this, instead of watching everything else, pay attention to some of these late night talk shows where they talk politics. You really need to listen to them. And I'm amazed at our black people trying to be intellectual, sitting up there saying, oh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're trying not to say that everybody voted for Trump because it was just racial prejudice. How do you vote for a man who makes no promises? Trump didn't make any promises. Yes, he did. He made one promise. You know what it was, Gary?
Make America great again.
No. We're going to build a wall. And of course, your slogan, "Make America Great Again." Don't you realized everybody understood what he really was saying. Again. We all knew, even we knew what he was saying, and he won. So now, and this is my last thing, I'm going to get it back to James. So now, and you need to know this, so now they're already working at work. So you got to start 4 years ahead. For what?
For the presidential race.
They're already starting 4 years ahead of time, getting ready for the next election, because it takes 4 years. Well, the Democrats know that Trump's not going to be able to run again unless it's separate.
Unless he changes what he does what he said he was going to do.
Change the law.
Yes, sir.
And if he could, he would.
He really could.
But I think there'll be a revolution before they allow him to do it. They're just not going to allow him to change that constitution. Although he would like to, and all the people that he had elected, they're on his side. And they will go along with it, and the people will go along with it. The people. If they thought they could get away with it. But it'd be a revolutionary war. So now the Democrats are already working on what can we do in 4 years to try to win back what we have lost. Well, they all asked me, you need a campaign slogan. Like every year we pick a what, Joseph? Theme. Every year we pick a theme. Sometimes we pick a good one, sometimes we pick a bad one. But the theme is supposed to be to inspire. And then we give scriptures, you know, and you carry that all the way through the conference. Democrats already saying we've got to start now working on some kind of a campaign slogan, because make America great again really worked for him. All the people knew what he was talking about. Again, he didn't say make America great, make America great again. So if I'm going to make it great again, that means I'm going to make it like it was. And how was it? How was it? You see what I'm saying? Make it great again. And everybody jumped on that because they wanted to be like it was. You know, put you where you belong. Get you out of that job, out of that office. So the Democrats are already figuring out, what can we do now? They said, well, we got one thing on our behalf. We know he can't run again. So, and they're figuring also, the Republicans are not going to be able to come up in 4 years with another Trump.
Exactly.
Oh, J.D. Vance.
No, Vance doesn't have it.
No.
Vance has too much tact.
Yeah.
Trump, everything comes up, comes out.
Yeah, I was saying it's too, Trump is too loose.
You don't find a Trump every day. But Trump says what the people want to hear. So, okay. You people need to watch the news sometime and stop doing so much other stuff. It ain't over yet, fellas. Not over yet. You think it's over? They're working all the time how to confine you and keep you down. So the Democrats are saying, so the Democrats also think, they're also thinking this. They're also thinking, maybe we was too hard on the abortion issue. Because see, the Republicans kind of backed away on that. Well, blame that on Obama. And you blame also on the ABCDFP people. He brought them in. What you call them? Yeah, LGBT. Democrats should never have done that. And let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because, and I'm listening to everything everybody's saying. See what they say, what they say. You only have about 8 or 10% of the American public voting member who are in that category. Now you may be for it, but you're not out with a banner going down the street.
Yes, sir.
So when the LGBT people have their parades, you don't see the whole city of Columbus in the parade.
No, sir.
And you don't see all the gay people in the parade.
No, sir.
Because you did. Because if you saw all the gays in the parade, when the camera comes around on the 6 o'clock news, you see Brother so-and-so, Elder so-and-so, Reverend so-and-so, but you may even see the mayor, you see the president, you see all. No, they ain't all in that parade. So, but then they go in behind the booth and vote for it. So when it came down to voting, that many, so the people, they only represent about 8 or 10% of the American population that are coming out. Now, we don't know what they vote for when they get behind the curtain. So the Republicans, they were saying no. And the Republicans said about abortion, no. Well, with those 2 issues and with the racial issue, it pulled Trump over. And then Trump was talking about the wall.
They want that.
Well, that's not, the wall really is a race issue. So then, before the wall stuff started, we was black and white in America. We was black and white. Then when the wall started to come up, next thing you know, we're not just black and white anymore. What are we now? Black and white and brown. So who's brown? All the people who come from South and Central America. Do you know who all the people in South and Central America are? They all speak Spanish, but they're all a mixture of Europeans and African slaves. Even in Mexico, Mexicans are brown people. You know why? Because they're mixed with Spanish, Indian, and slaves. Now, if you go on your computer, and type in there, slaves brought to Mexico, and you will see when they brought them. And they're right down there in Mexico now, all of them down there wearing serapes, and all of them down there speaking Spanish, because they don't speak English. It's on your phone. Look on your iPad. I was watching CNN one morning when I was living down here on Stelzer Road, 7 o'clock. And Nixon was the president. The mics were still on and he didn't know it. And CNN played it that Nixon said the Mexicans were nothing but a bunch of niggers. President Nixon said it. I sat up in the middle of the bed. So the next morning I got up at 7 o'clock, see if they're going to play it again, because they play everything at the same time. They had to bleep it out. Trump knows when he keeps saying the wall, people understand who we keeping out. Now you also need to know there's more than Hispanics coming across that border. Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
You got people coming across that border all the way from Haiti. You got people coming across that border from Africa. He claims that we got these criminals coming across the border. That is what's coming across that border. But we have one thing on our side. He only had the 4 years. So the the Republicans got to come up with another Trump. But I don't think that they're going to find another. His kind comes along once every blue moon. There you go. James. James is a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ. All right. We have 2 of the Lord's half-brothers don't we?
Yes, sir.
Do we?
Yes, sir.
And what do we find about these two brothers? All right, what's the first thing we find out about them? They're writers. First thing we see now, they're writers. James wrote his book, let me see when he wrote it, 51 AD, written about 45 AD, right?
Yes, sir.
That means about 45 years after Christ's death. And Jude wrote his when? About 66 AD. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to cover that because after Christ has ascended, and I'm going to the first chapter of Acts. Turn now to the first chapter of Acts. Now, we just finished talking about two brothers, right? Who are they, Stephen?
James and Jude.
Thank you, Stephen. Now, Stephen, when I go to the first chapter of Acts,
Yes, sir.
they don't seem to be writers yet, do they?
No, sir.
Oh, and I want to show you something else. 462. James. Yeah, there's a lot here on James 1 and 1. James was not the one called the son of Zebedee or the son of Alphaeus, but actually the half-brother of Jesus Christ. Okay, you can read that on your own. But I want to go to Acts 1. Acts 1. And the reason why I want to go to Acts 1 is, if you find it, let me know, but they don't say that at the ascension, that James and Jude are there, but they may be there because in the first chapter and the 13th verse, oh yes, I think they're there now. Acts 1 and 13. Everybody go to Acts 1 and 13. I'm going to bring you back to the 7th chapter in a moment. Everybody read. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called of Olivet. Because this what had just happened, Joseph?
The ascension.
The ascension.
Sir?
Ascension.
Give me the statement.
So what just happened was
Jesus has just ascended into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, because on the mount called Olivet, Jesus had just ascended back to heaven, hadn't he?
yes, sir.
Which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. How far is a Sabbath day's journey, Stephen? Look and see what the reference says.
Reference K reads about a mile.
About a mile. Well, according to Jewish custom, every synagogue, every Jew needs to live not any further than he can walk to the synagogue on the Sabbath.
Yes, sir.
That's why if you go out in Bexley, all the Jews who live in Bexley, they like to live within walking distance of the synagogue. But they've gotten modern now too, you know. You know, from time to time, since I've been passing these people almost 60 years, And in these 60 years, Elder Clark, 60 years, that's before most of y'all would come to this church. 60 years, I've seen some people go and get an apartment or buy a house on the other side of Franklin County. And they come telling, oh, the Lord, this, Lord. And I'm thinking, when are you going to get to church in the wintertime? I bought my house because I like where it was for 2 reasons. Reason number one, I can get over there to over here in 20 minutes, and that's normal for city driving. And the other reason is it's only 15 minutes from the airport on a good day. Because in my life, I'm going to church and I'm going to the airport. I don't want no house way up in Delaware County. It may be pretty up there, but I would never get to church in the winter. Is that right, Tam? Taxi cab cost you a fortune to get to church way up there, wouldn't it? You got that right. 12. Then returned they unto, read with me. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called, which is from a Sabbath. All right, you said 7 miles, 8 miles?
8 miles.
About a mile. Now we have cars now, so you can live a little farther from the church now. 13, read. Okay, now the upper room, it's been common mistake that the upper room was in the temple, but the upper room was not in the temple. The upper room was where they were abiding. They were still at somebody's house. All right? We were abode. So you don't live in the temple, you go to the temple to pray. Were abode both Peter and James and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simeon Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women. So he said with the women, if there were 12 of them, they all had a wife, that's 12 and 12 is 24, ain't it? And Mary, the mother of Jesus. Say, and Mary, the mother of Jesus.
Mary, the mother of Jesus.
And what else? And with his brethren. So now I've come to what now? What have I found out? Joseph? What have I found out now in light of all the things I've been saying?
Yes, sir. So that Jude, and at least Jude and James was there in the upper room.
Now I found out now that after the crucifixion and after the resurrection, 30 or 40, 50, 60 days after the resurrection, his brothers and his mother seem to have become believers. Because he's here now. Right? They seem to have become believers. That's why I tell everybody, they became believers after the resurrection. All right. Now let's go to John the 7th chapter. Do I want to? If I get out of Luke, I might go. All right. Now, at what point in time are we in the 7th chapter, Stephen? Where are we in the 7th? What time period is it? What time frame is it?
This is the time frame where Jesus is in the midst
Is it before or after the crucifixion?
Oh, before the crucifixion.
This is before the crucifixion, 1 year or two, could be no more than 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Because he was only 3 years old. This is before the crucifixion. And before the crucifixions, we are making an amazing discovery here. Now that we have covered the writers of Jude and James, 50, 60 years later, we've also covered the first chapter of Acts. They're there then. But in 7 and 6, where are they, Bishop Butler?
I don't see the brethren.
Where are they, Sister Engel? Any idea? Well, I'll tell you. And they don't seem to be believers. They don't seem to be on Jesus' side. They may be like some of the members of the Pool of Bethesda. They don't seem to be on his side. Not in 7 and 6. But when we get to Acts 1, which is some 30, 60 days after the resurrection, they have joined in. So we think they became believers very soon after the resurrection. When the news came around to all of his keen followers, his core. Are you a core member of the Pool of Bethesda?
Yeah.
Are you like Tab Scott? Tab Scott is a core member.
Yeah.
She's like the unshakable Molly Brown. You don't remember what the Molly Brown was? It was a ship. You thought I was talking about somebody, didn't you? No, in school it was a ship. Unsinkable. They couldn't sink it. That's what I learned when I was in school. Anybody remember that?
They didn't teach us how to.
I remember the song about it. I think the song about it.
Google it. Google it. Is your phone too heavy? Pick it up. Google it.
Okay, you get up in
Was it Molly Brown?
Molly Brown. You remember Ella Watson? You do? Go on, girl. What was the story of Molly Brown?
all I knew was a Broadway musical.
The Titanic, that sinking.
No, it wasn't.
Molly Brown, I think it was in the silver.
It was a song.
It's now.
It was a song in a Broadway musical.
What do you have?
A song.
Over there, ma'am?
All I knew, it was a song in a Broadway musical.
Oh, it was the name of a ship, too.
Okay, well, then they made a Broadway musical about it.
Okay, all right.
Is it Titanic?
It was at the Titanic?
Yes, sir, 1912. That's Parker.
What did it say?
No, it wasn't.
She became a national hero.
Molly Brown wasn't the Titanic. Anyway, now we come to the 7th chapter of John. And what do we find here, Brother Stephen?
Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry.
In the 7th chapter, they don't seem to be with him.
No, sir, they are not on his side.
They're not on his side. But John said in the 1st chapter, and in the 12th verse, because in the 7th chapter and the 6th verse, he named some of them that are not on his side. But I'm going to tell you though, you may not be on his side, but if you get on his side, Joseph, tell this class one thing you will be able to do. Might be able to do.
Might be able to be saved and filled with the Holy Ghost.
Stephen, we haven't said nothing about that all morning. Stephen, do you have it?
Yes, sir.
Let me go back here. Let me see a hand.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Yes, sir.
As you referred to in chapter 1, verse 12, to be able to receive the power.
Now let's go over here. If you get on, you might be able to write an epistle. Because James was not on his side
Yes, sir.
in Luke 7 and 6.
That's right.
John, thank you. You got that right. In John 7:6, James wasn't with him.
No, sir.
You see that? You see that? In John 7:6, which is about 1 year after his ministry began, Jude, his other brother, wasn't with him. Because 7:6 says what, Brother Bailey? I can tell you without even looking. Tell him. Neither did his brethren believe him. They weren't on his side.
No.
No, sir.
But hey, when you get right with God, you can do great things, can't you?
Yes.
And so after that resurrection, because they all come together after that resurrection, and in the first chapter of Acts, they're there now. Well, they're with him now, but he has already ascended. But from that time on, right? Now, and then I'm going to show you can find it. Now, if you go to the book of Acts, it will show you in the book of Acts that James become one of the heads of the church. Now find that, because you could be a bishop. You ain't living nothing now, but you could become a bishop. But you want to be careful now, because there's some things you can do, and you can do some things, and it would declassify, not declassify. Thank you, Stephen. It might disqualify, but Trump is going to know nothing disqualify you. But it might disqualify. I would encourage everybody, if you plan on running for any kind of office now, straighten up your act now, because if you go to run, they're going to dig it up. All right, what are you looking for?
Acts 15. Acts 15.
And what does it say?
And after they had held their peace, James answered, saying,
Acts 15. And we find Acts 15, this is the same James of John 7 and 6. Ain't it? It's the same James of John. Good morning, Sister Johnson.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning. It's the same James who wrote the Epistle James. And it's the same James of John 7 and 6. But in Acts what?
15 and 13.
At Acts 15 and 13, what did we find?
And after they had held their peace,
After they had held their peace, James answered,
men and brethren, hearken unto me.
Yeah. Whoa. What do you say, Stephen?
Hearken unto me.
But in 7 and 6, what did we have?
He was against Jesus. He was against it.
They said, if you who you are, going up to Jerusalem, they didn't believe in him. But when we get to the book of Acts, because he was there in Acts 1. And he was at the day of Pentecost. He done got filled with the Holy Ghost, because he sure didn't have it in 7 and 6. Because John 1 and 12 says, if you don't believe so and so, you don't have it.
That's right.
See, you can get your stuff together if you will.
Yes, sir.
You follow me, Barry? You can get it together if you will. You can get straightened out if you will, but you got to get your mind made up. And I can't do it for you. You got to make up your own mind.
Yes, sir.
Is that right, Bishop Butler?
Yes, sir.
You see, in 7 and 6, his brothers had 4 of them, didn't they? And they were not together. They were not on this side. But all of them got saved.
Yes, sir.
All of them got saved. And here's one of them have become, what, Elder Watson? The head who seemed to be, become one of the heads of the church. And in 7 and 6, he said, no, I ain't with him. You can become something. But you got to let all things.
Yes, sir.
Now, they did not believe in him. It says it in 7 and 6.
Yes, sir.
And now, look at the man now. He's one of the bishops. Well, the heads of the church.
Yes.
You see that, Deacon Bailey? So tell him that it ain't over. But you know, you can keep on fooling around. And just, you get me, Wanda? Just keep on fooling around. You mess your own self up. You didn't wash your face today, for God's sake, wash it tomorrow. If you keep going day after day and don't wash your face, you're a mess. Do you see that, Joseph? 76, they were with Jesus. But in Acts 15 and read it some more, Elder Watson. Read it for Nicholas. Where's Dave? Read it, Elder Watson.
I'm going to read it.
Oh!
They had held their peace.
Yeah.
James
Answered and said,
men and brethren, hearken unto me.
hearken, the same one in 76 who don't believe in it? You see that, Linda?
Yes, sir.
76, he don't believe in it.
Don't believe.
Acts 15, and he says, hearken unto me. He has got a change in attitude. That is hard right with God. And now listen what he's saying now. Go on and wrote an epistle. But in 76, he said, you're going up to Jerusalem. Oh, Jesus, you're going up to Jerusalem? And poor Jesus had to tell him, no, you're all going. I'm not going with you now. And in the end of the 6th chapter, Jesus has to pray for his brothers. He's praying for his brothers.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And it worked.
Yes.
And they become apostles. So your prayer will work if you put some up behind it. It will work. Tab Scott, are you praying for the members of this church? Is that a yes or a no? No, it looks like a no. You got to pray for those who despitefully use you and say all manner against you, true or false. Pray. If it's true, pray for them. But he said falsely for my name's sake. But he said if it's true, you know what he said? Do take it and go on. Take it patiently. And stop talking about it and leave it alone and move on. If people are talking about you and it's true, don't talk about it. Just move on. Let it go. You just need time. Time heals all wounds. And we don't ever watch and then I'll be done.
Simeon had declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets. As it is written, after this I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord.
Now this is James.
Yes, who doeth all these things. Known unto God are all his works from the beginning of the world.
And then someone else will tell you, and James, who seemed to be one of the heads of the church, he made a decision. And and after they came to the conclusion, he said, well, my opinion is that we don't put no more upon the Gentiles than we can bear. We just wish that they abstain.
That's in 24.
We go to 24 and they tell you that he seems to be one of the heads of the church. And he gives his conclusion about the whole matter.
It seemed good unto us being assembled with one accord to send chosen men.
And he says, and James, who seemed to be one of the heads of the church. After the big discussion was, then he stood up and gave his opinion.
Gentiles go but don't.
For as much as we have heard.
Or it might have been when it was discussed about Paul.
For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you.
Yeah.
Words subverting your soul, saying you must be circumcised.
Yeah.
And keep the law, to whom we gave no such commandment.
Yeah.
It seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you. And that's what we talk about Paul.
But it says there also that he seemed to be one of the heads of the church. So I'm trying to show you, at first they weren't a believer. And then they became believers. And when they become believers, they become strong believers. And they went from nothing to something, right? So if you're just forgetting those things which are behind you and pressing forward to those things which are before. I'm going to leave you with that. Forgetting those things. Find that for me now. Which are behind. This is what James and Jude did. Did they do that?
Yes, sir.
And it says in James, you seem to be one of the heads of the church. And he gave his opinion of what the conclusion of the whole matter was, and they followed it. Forgetting those things.
Philippians 3.
Where are we?
Philippians 3.
Read it out loud.
Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended,
Yeah.
but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind,
Yeah.
and reaching forward those things which are
That's good enough. Philippians?
Philippians 3.
All right, that's your scripture. You know you got to forget those things, because if you don't, they'll pull you down and pull you back. What did I say? And it become a weight. And you walk around with your own weights and your own condemnation in your own mind. Nobody else knows what your problem is. It's just nothing but your past. Forgetting those things which are behind. Then the man being Christ, all things are passed away, and behold, all things are become. Tell your neighbor, you can make it if you try. You can make it if you try. Okay, we're going to stop.